Hello and welcome to the Pain-Free Living podcast with me, your host, Bob Allen. I've been treating pain since 2008 and I graduated as an osteopath in 2011. So what I'm going to talk to you about today, and it's a question that I do get asked quite a lot by clients, is ice. When do I ice or when do I use heat? If you look on the internet, you will find many differing views on whether you should use ice or not. So what I'm going to do today is to give you a little bit of a summary of my view on how ice should be used, and hopefully it will make some sense to you. So when should you use ice? If you have an acute injury, so if you've had a trip or a fall and you've got a joint that's starting to swell up and get red and inflamed and angry and painful, then ice is your friend. Having said that, my answer should be it depends, because the way that ice works is that it helps to numb the pain, so it can affect nerve transmission, so it kind of dulls down the pain receptors. It causes what we call vasoconstriction, so the blood vessels in and around the injured area actually narrow, so it reduces blood flow to the area, which can then reduce swelling. That's a good thing, but it's not. It can also be not such a great thing. Now, while you can use ice to control inflammation and reduce pain, the downside of it is, because inflammation is a natural process, when you have an injury to a joint or a muscle, inflammation is part of the process. Now, if you slow down that process, which, like I said, can reduce inflammation, can reduce swelling, you're also reducing you're also lengthening the amount of time it takes for that injury to heal. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. When I say to people that ice can be good and beneficial, it can reduce pain, but on a temporary basis only. So if you have an issue where you can't tolerate anti-inflammatories, ice can be a good go-to. But if you overdo using the ice, then you're actually slowing down the healing process. So that's kind of the trade-off. So ice is good to an extent. There's various protocols around it, which I haven't got time to go into in this video. But knowing that information, you can now go and look up some information around ice, because one of the things that they don't tell you is that it can actually slow down the healing process. So now you know that, you can go off and you can look up how long to apply it for, how to apply it. So you don't put ice on bare skin. You would wrap it in a damp towel and then apply it, and you'd apply it for, say, 10 minutes at a time. So there are protocols out there, some quite good ones. And what I'll do is I'll put some information in the show notes about where you can go to get the detail. But the key thing you need to know is that if you use ice, it can work, but it will slow down the healing process. Any downsides? Yes. So the other thing to be aware of is if you have problems like diabetes, which can cause issues if you use ice, there are other things that you need to be aware of. So what I'll do is, like I said, I'll put some information, a link in the show notes to some good quality information about using ice. But I just thought I'd throw out a quick video to let you know that yes, it does work, but it depends on why you're using it. If you've got an event coming up or something like that, it can slow down the process of healing. So now you know. And that's it. So that's it for another short episode of the Pain-Free Living podcast. Like I said, if you've got some useful information out of this, if you've got any questions, drop them below in the comments. If you found it useful, tell all your friends. Like and subscribe to the podcast, and I'll see you at the next one.
Nice.
Mm.